Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're gonna dive into the story of Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse.
Oh, yeah.
You gave us some great sources,
Uh,
including a fascinating clip from a history podcast.
it's really amazing what you can find out about this pop culture icon.
For sure. We're gonna find out how a childhood prank, almost going broke, and a fight with a distributor all played a part in Mickey Mouse coming to life.
It's crazy.
So whether you're a diehard Disney fan or just interested in this icon, get ready.
It shows how even the biggest names in entertainment have these fascinating beginnings.
Yeah, full of twists and turns you wouldn't expect.
Right.
Okay, so first,
Yeah.
let's talk about Walt's early life.
Okay.
This story about 6-year-old Walt and his sister Ruth is wild.
Yeah.
They used tar to paint a family portrait on their house.
It shows that creative spirit.
It's not exactly finger painting, is it?
Even at that age,
Yeah.
that same boldness pops up later in his career,
Mm-hmm.
especially with Snow White.
Right.
Makes
Yeah.
you wonder if that early prank was a sign of things to come.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all fun and games.
Right.
This passion led him to forge his birth certificate to join the Red Cross as an ambulance driver during World War I.
It's remarkable.
Wow.
He never stopped sketching.
Yeah.
He even got some of his drawings published in an army newspaper.
Wow.
And this experience really solidified his belief that art wasn't just a hobby for him.
Right.
It was his calling.
It was his path.
Yeah,
And that wartime experience led him to Hollywood,
absolutely.
which was just starting to embrace animation.
Yeah, and it wasn't instant success.
No, it wasn't all roses, was it?
He had some wins with the Alice in Wonderland series,
Mm-hmm.
but he faced tough financial times.
Right.
There were even mice nesting in his discarded drawings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's kind of a sad image.
yeah,
But also speaks volumes about those early struggles.
yeah.
Then comes Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Oswald was a turning point,
Mm-hmm.
but not in the way you'd expect.
A character with such unique movements and personality that he was considered groundbreaking for his time.
Right, Walt ended up losing the rights to his creation
Oh, wow.
in this really brutal contract dispute with Universal Pictures.
What a blow.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how he picked himself up after that.
Well, that loss was a defining moment for him.
Yeah.
It instilled in him this fierce determination to maintain control over his future characters.
Right.
It was a hard lesson, but it shaped his entire career.
Yeah.
Without that experience, who knows if Mickey Mouse would even exist?
It's crazy to think how one setback could lead to the birth of such an iconic character.
It really is.
So how did we go from a lost rabbit to a mouse?
Walt was riding a train back from this disastrous meeting,
Yeah.
and he started sketching a new character,
Okay.
a mouse that he initially called Mortimer.
Mortimer Mouse.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
His wife, Lillian, thank goodness,
Yeah.
stepped in and suggested Mickey.
Good call, Lillian.
Right.
So that brings us to the premiere of Steamboat Willie on November 18th, 1928,
Right.
at the Colony Theater in New York City.
Steamboat Willie was revolutionary because of synchronized sound.
Right.
We take it for granted now.
Yeah.
But in 1928,
Yeah.
audiences had never experienced sound and animation together.
Right.
It was mind-blowing.
I mean, this was just 1 year after the very first talkie, The Jazz Singer, was released.
Exactly.
Walt was right on the cutting edge of this brand new technology.
He saw how sound could elevate animation.
Yeah.
How it could bring these characters to life
Yeah.
in a way that had never been done before.
Right.
It was a gamble,
Yeah.
but it paid off spectacularly.
So the audience loved it.
They loved it.
Especially those scenes with the steamboat wheel, the
Yep.
crane,
Wow.
and even a grumpy cat.
Right. Can you imagine the delight of seeing and hearing that for the first time?
It must have been amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to imagine the impact.
I know.
But we know that Walt, initially anxious about the premiere,
Was absolutely thrilled with the response.
of course,
That audience reaction must have told him he'd struck gold.
he had. But the story doesn't end there.
Right.
Walt wasn't about to repeat the Oswald mistake.
He learned his lesson.
He did?
He knew he had to protect Mickey.
Exactly.
This time he was ready for a fight.
He was.
He made sure he had complete control over this new character.
Right.
And ultimately secured a new distribution deal with Columbia Pictures.
He did. And from there, the floodgates opened.
This guy learns fast.
Pluto Goofy and Donald Duck joined the party.
Wow.
And Walt laid the foundation for what would become a global entertainment empire.
Right.
But even with all that success, he wasn't done taking risks.
He had an even bigger ambition. to
No.
create the world's first feature-length animated film.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Enter Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
This is where that tar painting, birth certificate, forging boldness really shines through.
Wow.
Snow White was a massive undertaking,
Yeah.
both creatively and financially. Let's dig into that in part 2.
Okay.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground already.
Yeah.
From tar paintings to wartime experiences, a lost rabbit, and the birth of a mouse who changed everything.
And there's so much more to uncover.
I can't wait.
Join us for part 2, where we'll explore Walt's leap into feature films, the phenomenal success of Snow White, and the enduring impact of Mickey Mouse on popular culture.
This is going to be good.
It is.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're right in the thick of Walt Disney's journey, and last time we left off with him ready to tackle a massive challenge.
Yeah.
The world's first feature-length animated film,
Oh, right.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Snow White was a huge gamble,
It was.
even for someone as bold as Walt.
Yeah, imagine the industry whispers.
A full-length cartoon.
Right.
Who would sit through that?
Yeah, but Walt was driven by a vision,
He was.
and it wasn't cheap.
No, it wasn't.
The initial budget was $250,000,
Wow.
which was a king's ransom back then,
Yeah.
but it ballooned to almost $1.5 million.
That's a lot of money.
Walt even mortgaged his own house to keep the project going.
He was really committed.
Talk about putting your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, this wasn't just about throwing money at the problem, though.
Right.
Walt demanded the best from his team.
He did.
He pushed for multiple rewrites of the script.
Wow.
He insisted on full color throughout the film.
Which was a technical feat at the time.
Absolutely.
And he even had his animators take anatomy lessons.
To make the characters' movements as lifelike as possible.
It's that obsessive attention to detail that sets Disney apart.
It really does.
Even today.
Yeah,
But it's easy to forget how groundbreaking Snow White was.
it's true.
So can you give us some context for why this film was such a game changer?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Until Snow White animated films were seen as these short comedic diversions,
Right.
mostly shown before feature films.
Yeah.
Walt proved that animation could be so much more. He created this captivating story
Mm-hmm.
full of emotion, music, and memorable characters.
Right.
That appealed to audiences of all ages.
And the gamble paid off.
It did.
Big
Now-
time.
Snow White wasn't just a critical success.
No.
It was a box office smash,
It was.
grossing nearly $8 million during its initial release.
Wow.
And this was during the Great Depression.
Right in the middle of it.
It even became the most successful sound film up to that point.
That's incredible.
The impact was huge.
It really was.
It transformed how people saw animation.
Yeah.
And really paved the way for all the incredible animated films we enjoy today.
Absolutely.
I mean, Walt's vision, his willingness to push boundaries
Yeah.
and take risks literally changed the course of cinematic history.
It really did.
And it earned him an honorary Academy Award
Mm-hmm.
with 7 miniature statuettes.
To represent each dwarf.
What a way to solidify his place in Hollywood.
Yeah. But Snow White is just one chapter in the story of Disney's impact on our world.
Right.
Mickey Mouse himself has become more than just a character.
Uh-huh.
He's a global icon.
Instantly recognizable. A symbol of imagination and a powerful brand.
You see Mickey everywhere, from merchandise and clothing to theme parks and, of course, those countless films and TV shows.
It's hard to imagine a world without him.
It is.
But what's interesting to me is how this character, born out of a setback,
Right.
losing Oswald,
Mm-hmm.
became this symbol of resilience and optimism.
It's almost as if Mickey embodies that spirit of turning challenges into opportunities,
Exactly.
which resonates deeply with people.
It does, but it's important to remember that the Disney legacy isn't just sunshine and rainbows.
You're right.
Yeah.
The sources also paint a picture of Walt as a complex figure.
Yeah.
Someone who was incredibly driven but also demanding,
Uh-huh.
and by some accounts, difficult to work with.
Right. It's a reminder that behind the magic there are real people
Right.
with flaws and complexities.
We can't shy away from those complexities.
We can't.
It's about understanding that history is nuanced.
Yes. Admiring someone's achievements doesn't mean ignoring the less flattering aspects of their personality
Of course not.
or the impact of their actions.
Right.
But even with those complexities, there's no denying the lasting impact of Disney's creations on our culture.
No, there's no.
Mickey Mouse has become a symbol of childhood,
Yeah.
of innocence,
Yeah.
of the power of imagination.
And it's fascinating to see how Mickey has evolved over time.
Right.
Adapting to changing cultural trends, while still retaining that core essence.
Mm-hmm.
The playful spirit, the optimism, the ability to bounce back from adversity.
But as we're talking about Disney's legacy, it makes me wonder about something.
Okay.
We've touched on Walt's personal complexity,
Yeah.
but what about the cultural impact of the Disney brand itself?
That's a crucial point.
It's much bigger than just one man.
It is. How do we reconcile the joy and wonder of Disney with, say, the potential downsides of such a powerful corporation?
Right. Like, what about the impact on our ideas of beauty, of gender roles, of happily ever after?
Those are conversations worth having.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can celebrate the creativity and the undeniable impact of Disney while also critically examining the messages their stories send
Right.
and the influence they have on our perceptions of the world.
So how do we even begin to unpack that?
Well, let's dive deeper into that cultural impact in part 3.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on quite a journey from Walt's early life to Mickey's global stardom.
It's amazing how much ground we've covered.
It really is.
Yeah.
And now we're getting to a really fascinating part of this,
Yeah.
the cultural impact of the Disney brand as a whole.
That's a big one.
It's easy to get caught up in the nostalgia and the magic.
It is.
But there's a lot to think about when you consider how deeply Disney is woven into our culture.
Absolutely. Think about it.
Yeah.
Generations have grown up with these characters and stories.
Right.
From fairy tales to epic adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Disney has shaped our ideas about everything.
Mm-hmm.
From good versus evil to what a happy ending should look like.
And it goes way beyond just entertainment.
It does.
I mean, we see Disney characters on everything.
Yeah.
Clothes, toys,
Yeah.
lunchboxes, theme parks.
Everywhere.
They're everywhere.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that these stories don't just exist in a vacuum.
Right.
They seep into our lives, shaping our values, our dreams, even our understanding of the world around us.
It makes me think about those classic Disney princesses.
Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, they're iconic,
Yeah,
beloved characters,
of course.
but there's been a lot of discussion about how they might influence our perceptions of beauty
Right.
and gender roles.
Absolutely. That's a crucial conversation to have.
Wow.
Do those early princess stories with their focus on finding a prince and living happily ever after send the right message?
Right. Are we perpetuating stereotypes?
This is
That might be harmful.
It's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
And it's not just about princesses either.
Right.
Disney has been criticized for cultural appropriation.
Lack of diversity in early films and even promoting a sanitized version of history.
Yeah, so it's important to acknowledge these criticisms and engage in a thoughtful discussion.
Yeah, it doesn't diminish the magic or the artistry,
Right.
but it allows us to be more critical consumers of media and to recognize that even the most beloved stories can have these problematic aspects.
So how do we reconcile these conflicting ideas?
I think it starts with awareness.
Right.
By recognizing the power of these stories, we can analyze them more critically, question the messages they send,
Right.
and consider how they might be shaping our own perceptions.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's about engaging with these stories on a deeper level.
Right.
Asking ourselves, what am I taking away from this?
Yeah.
How does this align with my own values?
And it's not just about individual reflection.
It's not.
It's about having open conversations.
Yeah, with friends, family,
Right.
even our kids.
About these issues.
Yeah, by talking about it, we create a more informed and critical viewership.
This has been an eye-opening conversation.
It has.
We've delved into the origins of Mickey Mouse, the incredible ambition of Walt Disney, and the impact of the Disney brand on our culture.
Yeah, there's so much more to this story than meets the eye.
Absolutely. So what's the takeaway for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is this.
Okay.
Never underestimate the power of a story.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a simple cartoon mouse or an epic adventure.
Right.
Stories have the ability to shape our perceptions, influence our values,
Yeah.
and even inspire us to dream bigger dreams.
I love that. And as Walt Disney himself once said, if you can dream it, you can do it.
What a perfect note to end on.
It is.
It reminds us that even amidst the complexities and the criticisms, there's still magic to be found.
Yeah.
And storytelling imagination and the power of human creativity.
Well, this deep dive has been truly fascinating.
It has.
A huge thank you to our expert for guiding us through the world of Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this journey.
Yeah, remember, you can find links to all the sources we used in the show notes.
Yes. And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop believing in the power of a good story.
So well said.
Until next time, Happy exploring.